morning. This is Yet Today News. I am Araba Aidoo, leading the bulletin this morning. President John Dramani Mahama directs all ministers to declare their assets as part of efforts to curb corruption. Also in the bulletin, John Dramani Mahama issues stern warning to ministers that he would not tolerate arrogance or disrespect to people who elected them into office. We have details of these and more stories coming up shortly. Please stay. Thanks for staying. Once again, I am Araba Aidoo, and remember the bulletin is streaming live on X and on Facebook at GHOne TV. We begin the bulletin from the presidency as John Dramani Mahama has directed all ministers in his administration to declare their assets as part of efforts to curb corruption. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of the 6 appointed ministers at the Jubilee House, the president emphasized the importance of transparency and accountability in governance. The Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, is tasked to ensure that all the appointees comply with the directive to declare their assets and will also announce the cut-off dates by which time all eligible appointees should have deposited their assets declaration forms with the Auditor General.
President John Mahama has sworn 6 newly appointed ministers into office following the successful vetting process and approval by Parliament at a ceremony held at the Jubilee House. The ministers include Minister for Finance, Dr. Cassel Atoforsen, Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, Minister for Roads and Highways, Governs Kwame Agboja, Minister for Education, Harun Idrisu, Minister for Energy, John Jinapo, and the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku. Addressing the ministers, the President charged them to serve with humility and remain committed to the nation's development agenda.
It's quite clear that so much needs to be done in so short a time. And I assure the people of Ghana that this government will rise to the challenge and will reset our country. As I pointed out during my inaugural speech, Ghanaians have, through their votes, declared their intention to demand the highest standards of governance, and we cannot afford to fail them. This naturally puts a burden of responsibility on us, which we must prove equal to.
He also stressed that leadership is about service and reminded the new ministers to ensure they declare their assets with the Auditor General as they assume office.
We must be transparent and fair in all our dealings. The anti-corruption institutions will be empowered to investigate and deal with any appointee who falls foul of the law. I expect all of you to begin the process of declaring your assets. The Chief of Staff will announce the cut-off date by which time all eligible appointees should have deposited their assets declaration forms with the Auditor General. I wish all of you good luck in your duties, and I pledge to work with you and give you the needed support, myself and Nana Jane, in the interest of working for the Ghanaian people.
The newly sworn-in ministers expressed gratitude for the opportunity to serve and pledge to work diligently to achieve the government's objectives. Minister for Finance, Dr. Cassel Atoforsen, assured the President their commitment to deliver on their mandate.
Mr. President, we have been with you throughout your days in opposition. We have witnessed the misgovernance and misrule of the previous administration. We've learned, indeed, that Ghanaians will not tolerate such misgovernance any longer. We've taken a cue from what you've just told us. We want to assure you that we'll serve in such a way to make you the best president in the Fourth Republic.
The ceremony was attended by senior government officials, family members, and well-wishers. Reporting for GHOne News, Abdul Hanan Adam, Jubilee House, Accra.
Still at the presidency, President John Dramani Mahama has issued a stern warning to his ministers, stating that his government would not tolerate arrogance or disrespect towards the people who elected them into office. According to him, humility and accountability must guide their conduct in serving the nation. President Mahama was speaking after the swearing-in of 6 newly appointed ministers at the Jubilee House on Wednesday, January 22, 2025.
It's quite clear that so much needs to be done in so short a time. And I assure the people of Ghana that this government will rise to the challenge and will reset our country. As I pointed out during my inaugural speech, Ghanaians have, through their votes, declared their intention to demand the highest standards of governance, and we cannot afford to fail them. This naturally puts a burden of responsibility on us, which we must prove equal to. Ghanaians have shown that the days of tolerance for disrespectful gaslighting by government officials are well and truly over. They will take firm action as they deem fit to punish any administration that takes them for granted. I therefore charge you to serve in humility and candor, always remembering that we serve at the pleasure of the Ghanaian people and that the authority we exercise emanates from them. We must exhibit tolerance for their views and work to meet their aspirations. This government will not tolerate arrogance or disrespect for the people who elected us into office. Modesty and prudence must be the guiding principle upon which you, myself, and our Vice President fashion our governance. The people of Ghana will hold us accountable for the trust that they have placed in our hands. It cannot be business as usual. We must be transparent and fair in all our dealings. The anti-corruption institutions will be empowered to investigate and deal with any appointee who falls foul of the law.
Let's now move to the vetting committee, where Minister Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection and MP for Krowo, Dr. Agnes Namomolate, has disclosed she will ensure the school feeding program is decentralized. It follows numerous challenges with the program, including delayed payment of arrears to caterers and quality of food served students. Now, taking her turn before the Appointment Committee of Parliament, Namomo noted despite the challenges, the program is laudable and needs a little improvement.
I think the school feeding program is something that all of us appreciate, because if a child is not properly fed, it affects the concentration in class. And so for the highs, I would say it's a good project that we intend to improve on. The other side of it is the processes leading to the feeding, ensuring that there's quality and also accessibility and timeliness in terms of the supply is also very important. And so these are areas that I will look at improving and then adding on. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, you have touched on the quality and also timely delivery. I couldn't agree more with you. What is your assessment of the current situation?
Part of my life is also in local governance, and so it comes with decentralization. And I believe that if we are able to effectively decentralize the feeding program, as we are also looking at, it will help us to ensure that it is supplied on time, the food items are supplied on time, and then also we can keep an eye on the quality.
Now, for men desirous of paternity leave, Minister Designates for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Agnes Namumulati, says she will only advocate for such if men agree to stay with their families during the period.
I think men were or are still advocating for paternal leave, and if it is important for them to take a break to support the family, then it is more important for women to have a prolonged period, not only to take care of the children, but to also properly heal. And so, as an employer, I will encourage you that if you even have the opportunity to take care of 6 months, please do that. But there are other ways, on a more serious note, to do that. You know, creating daycare in the company that makes it child friendly for the women to bring their kids there with a little support from the company or the organization, so that they don't have to be worried. You know, psychologically, the woman can be present or physically present in the company, and yet the mind is at home. And so you can have her being there working for you, but to have the utmost output, it is better we make sure that there's holistic care. And so I will sit with all stakeholders. There are CSOs who are deep into it. There are lots of advocates. I will join them to look at what is best, ensure that we push it. And if Ghana and if the people of Ghana agrees to it, surely I will be the #1 champion.
Are you intending to advocate for paternity leave?
I would love to advocate for that, but I also love beyond that to ensure that there are some measures to ensure that when the men take the paternity leave, they actually spend it with the family.
Let's still stay in Parliament, where there was a heated debate over President John Dramani Mahama's recent trip to the United Arab Emirates, which sparked the House to come into a halt. Now, this development compelled the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Andrew Isiama, to suspend sittings. The Formina MP, who was presiding, read a communication from the President informing the House of his trip last week and the status of Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as acting President in his absence. This information sparked mic-off comments of which flight did he use from the minority MPs.
The president's decision to abandon the $37 million French-built Dassault Falcon 900 EX presidential jet for a commercial flight to the United Arab Emirates became a topical one on the floor on Wednesday, January 22, 2025, when the NPP minority MPs questioned the decision. Adaklu MP Gavin Kwame Agboja discounted the claims of John Mahama resorting to private jets for his travels, as was the case with former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Let me make it extra clear to you. He went on a commercial flight. Unlike the former president who rented private jets even when he's going within the country. President Mahama has never, since he took office, rented and used Ghana government money to pay for any flight. That is the difference between our former president and the current president. So let it be clear to you. President Mahama didn't go on this trip on a rented flight. That is the difference.
Former Minister for Defense Dominic Nitiwul, however, questioned the decision of the president to travel on commercial flights when the presidential jet is in a good condition. According to the Bimbala MP, he would have supported the rental of a private jet by President Mahama like Akufo-Addo did if the presidential jet was not in a good shape.
It is wrong for the President of the Republic to be going on commercial jets when the jet that Ghana used their money to pay for and buy is available and it's working. I find it very offensive, and let the President know that, yes, whilst we are going to hold him responsible by his own actions and words, And your actions and your words and your deeds when you were at this site, we will not be reckless in opposition. We will not. We will not accuse the president for things that we believe that Ghana deserves. We will not do that.
Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre, on his part, forcefully argued, unlike President Mahama, Akufo-Addo would have never used his brother's jet for his travels. The development degenerated into heated exchanges when the second deputy speaker refused to give Nitiwul another opportunity to speak to the matter, compelling the second deputy speaker to suspend the House.
I think that on this matter of the flight and whether who cares for this country, we'll have a full day to discuss this matter. But I am proud of President Akufo-Addo. I am proud of President Akufo-Addo to have stuck to the regime where a flight owned by the state. Akufo-Addo will not travel on a flight owned by his brother. No! You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Sitting resumed with Dominic Nitiwul having another opportunity to speak to the matter, insisting President Mahama also used a private jet for his trips in the past. However, Majority Leader Dr. Kasiel Atoforsen, who was on the flight with President Mahama on the trip to the UAE, corroborated the use of a commercial flight.
Right Honorable Speaker, again for the records, I traveled with the President Mahama, in his recent trip to the UAE. He did not use private jet. I was on the flight. I was on the flight with him. We use Emirates. So let no one create. You cannot just make statements without justifications. You can't. You can't. Bring us evidence to prove that he has traveled or rented a private jet.
The House subsequently moved to other items on the order paper, which saw Medina MP Francis Xavier Susu ask questions on trade and the role of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
Africans' challenges.
Now, for many, vetting is a rigorous process where candidates or persons are examined to determine their competences or otherwise to a designated position or role. Now, the ongoing parliamentary vetting may have split opinions about if this aim has been achieved. However, one cannot deny the drama and flaring tensions that have unfolded and characterized these sittings. But amidst the tense moments and loud disagreements, the ongoing parliamentary vetting has produced some rather interesting moments which have warmed the rather cold vetting atmosphere. Isaac Abila reports.
Honorable Haruna Idrisu, it is saying, and crying for now, what
Mate, cantonese, baby.
Rather unconventional questions for a parliamentary vetting, you would agree. But there you have Tamale South MP and a man born and bred on the streets of Tamale in the northern region, Haruna Idrisu, having to answer questions in three from the ranking member of the committee and Efritu MP Alexander Afenyomakin. His crime?
Honorable nominee, you say on your CV that you speak English, Dagbani, Hausa, and Twi.
But having listened to Haruna Idrisu's response, what is the verdict of the committee?
You've passed. I'm thus far impressed with your Twi. I'm sure that there is a Southern inspiration.
That's Parliament House. My wife, Mary, Safwa Yepua.
Oh, very well.
Sometimes when I'm coming out, I don't know about church, I say, Chino,
As the saying goes, behind every successful man, there is a Mary Yepua. But there certainly also is a man behind a successful woman, as in some areas, where when you marry a man, you marry into the entire family. New Durban South MP Michael Ochrebefi could not hide his excitement at Techima North MP and Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry designate Elizabeth Ofosu Ajari, who is married to the indigene of the area. To the people of Koforidua, she is
our wife. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
These incidents are not the only instances that sparked smiles and laughter in the tense vetting room. Well, recall that time in class where the teacher posed a question and the brilliant student yapped on and on, exhibiting his knowledge to the admiration of all, including the teacher? Eric Opoku's response left the heart to impress Afenyomakin with just this to say, "Hey, Eric, what bang."
It is, no, he has asked a question. I must respond. I haven't answered the question. No, I haven't answered the question.
The committee equally had some of its members who were hoping to make President Mahamet's ministerial list. One of such was Elembele MP Emmanuel Amakofibua. Afenyomakin had a simple advice for Mr. Boa that left everyone rolling on the floor.
Why are you acting this way? You are supposed to be nominated. Your good conduct. Why? You have not. Your nomination has delayed. You are not going to pray. If I were you, I won't be coming here. Then you are taking a fight with the minority leader. How would I pray for you? Can you leave here, go and pray? Your thing has delayed. All your colleagues have their names out. Yours has delayed. And you are still coming here sharing power.
I love to be here.
Well, the vetting thus far has had its intriguing and light-hearted moments, and with Emmanuel Amakofibua finally badging a nomination as Lands and Natural Resource Minister. Maybe the about 150 MPs who have still not received an appointment should also go and say a prayer.
Interesting sounds there, right? All right, I am Araba Aidoo, and this brings us to the end of GA Today News. Do log on for more news on starfm.com.gh.